days? Was it the fire burning in me?
Let's listen to Pavarotti.
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host Pavarotti. I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. Now, what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to go back over a few things so that we're all clear. And then tonight I'll be putting the conclusion of the 3-part series out. And in that conclusion is going to be the eye-popping things, okay? But before I do that, I've got to make sure that we're all on the same page before I expose that information I'm going to expose tonight. And I need to do that because I'm very aware that when I discuss things, I discuss them on another level sometimes. And what I want to make sure that I don't do is leave anybody behind. And I can really grasp if I'm doing that by the way that my detractors out there perceive the things that I'm discussing. Because while they may be very shallow-minded people, you know, it probably, and of course they're guilters and their hometown they don't want to believe is, you know, not a shining city on a hill. But they still, you know, they bring up good points for, you know, simple-minded people. And I don't want to overlook anybody out there that may be thinking the same thing that they're thinking just simply because of an experience level. And what I mean by an experience level is, for example, I've got, you know, my main troll that I actually brought this one to life. And I feel for her, really. I mean, it's got to be tough to have, you know, an overeating disorder and you know, to be from a town that, and an alumni of a school where it's just located in a very bad position along a, you know, high intensity drug trafficking route. So it's bound to, you know, it's bound to have some spillover into those little towns. Now, they don't want to believe that. What they would rather believe is what, you know, what law enforcement tells them, which is, hey, you're in luck. It's a one-off Ted Bundy maniac that is doing this and we caught him. They want to believe that because it makes them feel so much better about their little town. But when somebody starts to expose the real things, when they start to pull back the veil a little bit and you see all the little bugs scatter, well, that's when they go, oh, well, let's wait a minute. Think about what he's saying here. This doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't to you, soccer mom, because your experience level with the things that I'm discussing is watching Days of Our Lives. So I can imagine why you would have such a tough time correlating when I say these people are from the same town or the same city. In your mind, you think, I don't know my neighbors across the street. So what would make them know each other? That's just dumb, Pavarotti. But you're leaving out something that I would expect you to leave out. And that's the fact that you don't understand the world around you, or more to the point, the underworld around you. With all due respect, ma'am. So, here is just an example of the way that a lot of people look at life itself.
The phrase, criminal underworld, refers to a hidden, secret part of society that is involved in illegal activities and organized crime. Imagine a world that operates in the shadows, where laws are broken, and criminal organizations thrive. This is not a physical place, but rather a network of criminals, including thieves, smugglers, and other lawbreakers, who operate outside the law. The underworld aspect of the term paints a picture of a hidden layer of society, not visible to the ordinary person, where all these activities occur.
Now, this is not the easiest thing to explain, but imagine, if you will, society and all of its productive members. Now, in the midst of all of those productive members of society, you're going to have a few that are possibly even appearing to be productive members of society, but they are part of a group of people that are connected by only one thing. And that is the fact that they are involved in crime. And some of these people of society are easy to identify, others not so easy. In fact, the only way you can identify them is through arrests. But this minority group of society that's hard to identify, when you look at it from a whole, you can see it's a very small segment. But that underworld is very real. And it consists of organizations that are involved in stealing, fencing stolen goods, trafficking of people, narcotics. And we're focused in this particular aspect, though, on strictly the narcotics angle, because that underworld always tends to know each other. And if you look at it from the perspective of this in a neighborhood, for example, or a small town, you would find the same ratios. So out of the vast majority of people in a town such as this, you would expect to find the vast majority of them are productive members of society. But you would also suspect to find that a very select few are part of the criminal underworld, whether it's actual criminal activities or they're involved with narcotics. But one thing is for certain: if they are involved in these activities and they do live in a proximity, the chances of them being aware of each other or having some type of relationship with each other skyrockets. So when I introduce an example such as this, and the proximity of the residences between each other, their proximity of the residences between an intricate high-intensity drug trafficking intersection, and then through public records, I show all of the arrests of these individuals proving that they are part of that criminal underworld. Well, yes, I would say the likelihood of them being associates in underworld activities is at probably 95%. And then when you add other aspects to the equation that we know about, such as the fact that we know they know each other, and we know that their children knew each other, and what happened to their children, well, it increases that up at least another 4%. So we're at 99 right now, soccer mom. And then you mentioned Kelly Farley, where her listed physical address is literally about 100 feet from a gentleman who coincidentally has her same last name, but also resides in a town where her brothers and sisters reside, and the town is about 200 people. And out of those 200 people, several of them are publicly known for being involved in the narcotic underworld, and Kelly just happens to be in prison right now for narcotics, then yeah, I can certainly make that connection where you can't. And then when I bring up the fact that these three individuals, who I highly suspect of being part of the atrocity, and who I have documented their movements through public record from Spokane up to Tacoma, down to Eugene, Oregon, and proven that the dates of their movements in those locations perfectly align with them having possession of that 2013 Hyundai Elantra at the time that it was in Eugene, and that they were in Eugene at that time. And then to couple it with address records and arrest records of all of these individuals who are known, by the way, publicly known to be part of an organization of the criminal underworld. Even you, soccer mom, with your Days of Our Lives criminal education, can see the connections there. So if not, you are blind to life, and don't take other people with you down your dark, blind path. And don't think for a second that if I'm wrong on something and I find that out, that I won't admit it fast. Some things I want to be wrong on because it lets me know I'm not looking in the right place for the right things. For example, the information that I put out on the Rainbow Motors, with the back of the 2013 Hyundai Elantra, clearly listing a Rainbow Motors as their dealership that sold the car. I had one of my commenters who had done some research brought up the fact that there was a Rainbow Motors used car lot down in El Paso, Texas, and that's where they believed it came from. Wonderful. So I dove into that El Paso, Texas Rainbow car lot to see if I could validate that. And here's what I found. Unfortunately, you can see they're permanently closed. So they're no longer in business, but it was a Rainbow Motors in El Paso, Texas, and they sold used vehicles. So the thing that I dove in on is it's very specific, that plate on the back of that Hyundai Elantra listing the Rainbow Motors. That is a way for a dealership to forever be able to advertise their dealership by putting that on the back. Many dealerships do it different ways. So I dove into the available pictures from this dealership to see if I could match it up. And so far I've been unable to do that. You see, their pictures are still up, but mostly it's from the front view, and you can see they use the front temporary tags that list their brand of their dealership as Rainbow Motors. And they have many front views of their vehicles, and all of their front views do list the paper tag on the front, which that's the way that a lot of them do it. There's another example that I took right here. You can see again, they're using the front tag as their means of advertising. That rear tag is very specific on that Elantra. And the only rear pictures I could find were this one. And you can see on the back where that rainbow would be, it should be right there, and there isn't one. But then again, this is a Corvette, but I am able to see the rear of this vehicle, and it's clearly not a rainbow. That is a round Ford emblem. So not able to verify that they are the Rainbow dealership that actually sold those vehicles. So I'm still looking. But if I find something that says I'm wrong, then absolutely, y'all will be the first to know it.
And why did you decide to focus only on the U.S.?
I think there's a propensity that we all have to think of black markets as happening somewhere else, far away from home. And what we found, and I think it's incredibly important for me, is to show that very often these black markets are actually operating right here in the United States, and sometimes as close as our backyard.
So, when I discuss the things that I discuss, just remember, I'm discussing things on a level that some people out there just will never be able to grasp. Sorry, folks. It wasn't a Ted Bundy. You are still in danger if you still live in that town and you still send your kids to those schools. It hadn't stopped, I assure you, and I'll prove that in a few videos coming up. But, soccer mom, keep making your videos thinking you're debunking something, and continue to live in a world that you believe you live in, unfortunately, the world that you do live in is much more dangerous than you perceive. So, but it took me quite a bit longer to make this video than I thought it would. I will probably not get the other video out to you tonight. It will probably be tomorrow night. But in the meantime, please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Till next time, Pavarotti is out.